Yo, what's up, y'all? I'm going to be going over the whack poem, The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock, written by the poet T.S. Eliot. First and foremost, T.S. Eliot was on some high horse crack when this poem was written, because it takes you like 3 times to read it to actually understand the poem somewhat. And this man made it so only the elite class could understand it, which is absolutely whack. If Prufrock wanted a relationship so bad, how is the chick supposed to understand you when you don't make any sense? If you wanted a smart chick, you should have just said so. Don't go around in circles with slow and boring lines that make no sense. Anyways, Prufrock is still stuck in his own internal suffering with not knowing how to make any decisions. I bet his mom still picks out his clothes for the day and mixes all of his meals because he cannot make any decisions. And y'all, get this? Get this? He's a middle-aged man. A middle-aged man. But on the other hand, T.S. Eliot, believe it or not, actually wrote this poem at the beginning of his career when he was like 25. And he decided to make his main character an old dude. But he's still able to write the perspective of an old and crusty dude. And not just any old and crusty dude, but one that cannot make up his own mind. Because he wants something, but he doesn't want to say it, or how to say it, or is it something that he actually wants but doesn't want? I don't even know. But now we have to really look at this Prufrock dude. It is obvious, by the way, that Eliot mentions he was losing hair, dressing like an old dude, that he's obviously very old, maybe out of touch. But we also have to look at his indecisive nature. Like, why couldn't this dude make a decision? Just eat the peach, bro. You don't have to think so hard about it. And Prufrock's telling someone throughout the whole poem. It's definitely not us. He's talking to someone, but we can't understand this man, so it's obviously not us. For sure, there's got to be someone with him. Maybe a side chick or a girlfriend, but we're not for sure. Maybe his audience could be T.S. Eliot. I mean, we are talking about the idea of creator versus the creation, or maybe it's just the dude talking to himself in his own head. Who knows, and I for sure do not care enough to figure it out. Basically, T.S. Eliot is implying something about this dude. It is possible he's trying to show the idea of the effects of modern technology. I mean, he does talk in a roundabout way of not being able to talk to chicks, and he really isn't able to connect or communicate with others, especially with the old way that he speaks. And in the end, where he mentions about drowning in human voices, there is for sure something wrong with this dude's personal interactions for him to think that hard about something. Like, would someone really off themselves because they can't write an email or talk to people face to face? I mean, try COVID, bro. We had to stay inside for how long? But enough about 2021. We have to look at this timeline of this poem. It was set during the modernist movement, which was a big deal at the time, with a busier side of life, as well as new technologies that were developed to keep people from interacting with each other. For Prufrock, it's no wonder this man is freaking out. He's losing all of his babes to the busy nightlife, and he cannot catch up. This poem was published during the midst of World War I. And when the world is experiencing a war, literature and art both follow some certain trends together. And during this modernist movement, there was an outlook of a utopian society and future. And with this idea, there were some themes that came out that include alienation, transformation, consumption, relativity of truth, absurdism, and extreme of consciousness. And I know, that was a lot of random words that make no sense. But they're all important to the modernist movement. And in a time where there are quote-unquote outcasts, these writers and artists would just eat it up. And Prufrock's character is a perfect example of an alienated man due to the height of technology and a busy lifestyle. He can't keep up with the transformations of time and the population's consumption, so he thinks too hard about the relativity of truth and then composes all of his ideas in an absurd manner while using a string of consciousness to get all of his thoughts out. End scene. But the thoughts must go on. T.S. Eliot packs on these literary devices just to keep the poem going, and I'm starting to get tired with this analysis, so I'm going to make it short. He makes the tone of the poem super depressing, sinister, and passive. Like, geez, Eliot, we get this man is lonely, sad, too. Even with the poem and the tone, the timing of the poem is urgent. He hasn't accomplished much, and you know who hasn't accomplished much either? My boy Hamlet. Like Hamlet, even though the time is of the essence, Prufrock is still not acting upon it. Like, come on, man. We have a deadline to meet. Get it together. You might be asking, oh, Jordan, what else about this poem is slow, sad, and depressing? Why you're catching on so fast? But let me tell you, this poem's themes are just straight whack. Some include Prufrock being passive more than active, being immobile in the future, having insecurity, fear of sickness, decay, and death without doing something good or meaningful, and much more. Besties, we're not even done yet. This man, T.S. Eliot, writes in such a weird way that other poets and analysts are like, bro, what the heck are you doing? This man breaks away from traditional forms of writing, ending with a sestet. Is there a solution? No, of course there isn't. If it's anything, it's just more confusing. Bestie doesn't even know what's happening. And you know what? I don't really understand much about this, but I was assigned to do it. So see ya!